When R1 sent me the DC1 at the beginning of the summer, I knew that we would eventually get to the point that they had spoken about with me, which was we're going to have all of these advanced tuning options. We're going to have an awesome upgrade path available if people want to. And if not, you're going to have an awesome experience straight out of the box. Now, they are fresh off some hot wins here at the end of the season, and everything that they have talked about as far as getting in stock and availability is all coming together at the right time, just in time for the holiday shopping list. So we're going to take a look at some of the tuned racing parts, some of the bling you can do on your DC1, some of the things that I will be changing up with mine. So I'm Chad, this is the Dorky M40 RC channel. We're going to make you faster today. What's up, guys? Good to see you. Little older, little fatter, nothing wrong with that. Let's get going on this video here. So the great thing about all these new tuned parts that they have, which in some cases they're redesigned, some cases they're a little bit lighter. There's different variations. We'll take a look at the website here. But as you can see, I've got some of the key components that I will be changing on my DC1 that I think addressed some of its weaknesses compared to the current state of the Apollo 2023 drag car. Now, you know, you can go back and look at time and you can see that everything that the DC1 was doing is what the Apollo jumped to. And now we're kind of on this tick-tock cycle where R1's trying some things that the Apollo is not, and it's back and forth. So it's a good time for us because that means we're just going to have total innovation. You know, the last turnout at the big race, the King of the Smokies, was big. You know, we'll talk about the race maybe sometime later, but you know, it's just great the way things turned out for everybody. And we'll wait and see what happens with the whole hobby and everything like that. So the original intent, of course, was to get people into the DC1 complete kit as low as possible. And you can see $600, $700, depending upon if you get V2, V1 shocks, lay down, stand up transmission, those kind of things. It's a super great deal. That's coming in a couple $100 lower than any type of Apollo kit that you might get. Now, the great thing about the DC1 now is that we can literally not only get almost any part that we want. Some parts are still out of stock, some various ball studs and things like that. But we have all of these new redesigned parts that if you want to, you can go ahead and start souping your car up, doing things like that. But I ran all of these injection molded pieces and everything from the basic kit setup, and I had no issues at all. That car was just as fast as my hopped up 2023 Apollo that is no longer with us. Ronnie is enjoying that in Texas. So taking a look at the DC1 drag car parts here that you can get, any kind of new type of option for your shocks, rebuild tuning. We've got new shock towers. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. And the best thing to think about on all of this stuff is just how good the prices actually are. And not only that, but like, you know, they don't have to put all their parts in these nice bags and stuff. Like typically, you know, even myself would be like, hey, put it in a cheaper bag and like save us $1 or $2. But when you're looking at prices as cheap as these are, you know, we're looking at say $16 for a bumper, scroll down a little bit and, you know, $18 for some dog bones. You know, their new wheelie bar option, if you wanted to, you can use the same bar the same wheel from your old bar if you wanted to, but you would get something like the tuned wheelie bar brace right here for $10, pick up your turnbuckle for $10. If you wanted a new wheel, it was $30, $36 for the fiber tuned wheelie bar. So really good prices. Love that for sure. Now, the other thing I love is, you know, I'm a sucker for gimmicking and marketing and everything else. If we're going to be racing and we want to go fast, why can't we look good at the same time? And R1 accomplishes all that. You know, if we take a look closer here at the tuned wheelie bar, you know, it's got some really cool shapes and geometry to it. R1 engraved in all of the carbon fiber. They really don't sell a part that does not say R1 on it. And even this transmission riser for your turnbuckle that'll come down and connect to your wheelie bar down here. Just super awesome stuff the way everything is. And what I really love is this new shock tower right here. So kind of get us some lower shock mounting options, which is definitely needed on the DC1, I'll say, to get that ride height down a little bit lower. Not sure how low you want to go. I experimented with that a lot over the summer. Of course, I never claimed to be a professional racer or anything like that. I'm just a YouTube guy, but what do I know? So let's talk about the first things that we're going to be doing with the DC1. Of course, we're addressing the wheelie bar situation in the back, which is one of the biggest headaches that I had with the DC1 was there was no adjustability of the wheelie bar. When the Apollo had the little turnbuckle deal here that went onto the back to just kind of turn and instantly raise or lower that wheelie bar just to get it that perfect little height, it really was a super game changer. With the DC1, that, the first generation, I had to either mount it on top of the carbon fiber plate, mount it on the bottom, shim it up, shim it down, whatever. So this adjustability is really, really a lot better. And now, of course, we've got this nice little bracket here that will attach to either the stand up or the lay down transmission case. So that way we can connect that with our turnbuckle, couple ball studs, ball ends, and we are good. So that is that piece out of the way. Probably the most important thing, though, is going to be these two pieces right here. And what these are is this is how we are going to get our actual lay down transmission plate on there. And this is the new designed motor plate that will get us that low CG. So you can see how the motor will now be hanging a lot lower. So that'll just lower everything down, get that center of gravity down a little bit for us. This still has the spacers that go up through it that connect to the actual carbon fiber frame. So it's one design that I would like to see them improve on in the future and just go to some kind of block mechanism so we don't have all of these little spacers in between there, because when you got to do like transmission service and maintenance, it is kind of annoying. But I will live with that for now as long as we're seeing progress that is going on throughout the car. Now we also have some new CVAs here. These are 69 millimeters. A lot of people on the 2023 Apollo running anywhere from 67 to 69. And the whole point is to just kind of shorten that rear wheelbase a little bit, just to kind of like, not make it as wide, give it you want your front a little bit wider, your rear a little bit narrow, and these cars just seem to perform better that way. Lastly, here on the bench is, showed you before, this new redesigned rear shock tower, which is just going to sit in there like that. You got plenty of bolt hole patterns here to bolt to whatever you want, stand up or lay down transmission. And then of course you can see we have all kinds of shock mounting options available. So you can get your perfectly dialed in ride height with V1 or V2 shocks. And then you can also do some more tuning with a different length of springs. Now, if we zoom out here on the messy bench, we'll take a closer look at the DC1 the last time that I left her. So you can see that this really doesn't look like a complete car, and you would be correct. This is kind of like when my M17 broke. If you're familiar with the channel, I threw in the R1 3-turn motor and a DRK and was running a Spectrum DX5C or whatever, and actually got this thing going pretty decent for a week or two until that situation resolved itself. So definitely enjoyed that. If you take a look on the back here, you can see the whole wheelie bar situation that I was talking about, how you just don't have any way to adjust this thing. So now we do. That piece will go on here to the transmission, and then you'll have, of course, your turnbuckle that you'll be able to make adjustments. Again, never had any problems with any of the new injection molded parts. Everything just beautiful. Love that bling, that gold R1 bling that's on there. That is for sure. Ran the big front bumper. They've got a couple different bumpers out depending upon like how fast you want to go or how light you want your car. Whatever is your pleasure. We have the regular injection molded bumper. They have a tuned version of this, which has some plastic cut out of it. And then they also had some carbon fiber options as well. So a lot of different options up front, depending upon what you want to do. They also come out with some different weight kits. You can see I have the old school weight kit, which goes across the whole front here. Well, they have some smaller individual weights that you can actually use there. So we can go that route. Take a quick look at the rear shock tower here. You can see that is how it is set up right now, but we're going to have the new shock tower part in there, and we're going to have to redo and just redesign this entire rear end, since we're going to be swapping everything out and over and all the rest of the stuff. So when it comes to the chassis, I still have the regular 4mm chassis with just all the regular holes. You know, it's pretty much like what everybody has went to now. There's no reason to have anything else except for this actual straight type of chassis and build off of it until somebody can prove us otherwise. I kind of would probably like to have something like some slits in the carbon, possibly to run the Velcro straps and stuff for the body. That was pretty handy on the Apollo. Now, R1 does have this like battery holder type of thing here for their larger batteries. But after doing, again, more testing and stuff this summer, I just, you know, with 4-pole, you just don't really need a big old honking battery. You don't need, again, it'll be pretty debatable, but don't need these big old bullets. Don't really need all that big wire, none of that stuff. I mean, it's so insignificant. Of course, when people are 1.3s, 1.4s, I'm sure they need all that stuff. But for average people like you and I that are going to be running 1.6s, 1.7s, 1.8s, whatever, this kind of stuff is just going to, you know, it's more of a convenience type of thing. You know, we already got to get just everything covered in tire prep and stuck and all that kind of stuff with that stuff that we do. So anyhow, haven't seen a whole lot of updates on the front. Now, the front on the DC1 has had gave me a little bit of grief, just kind of trying to find the right way to dial in the right height. I'm not sure if they're working on anything for the front. When it comes to the floating body mounts in the rear, I did like that the Apollo ones extended past the wheel, just because these just kind of came up in a very inconvenient position on almost any body that I had. It was nice having these out a little bit further. That would be easily remedied if you just wanted to extend it yourself with, you know, some carbon fiber or something like that. It would be pretty simple to do. And unless R1 comes out with some kind of retrofit kit for that. So that would be pretty freaking cool. So everything is just, you know, it's ready to go. I got a blank canvas here. We got to rip everything out. We got to put in the laydown transmission with all the new plates. And then we're just going to start slowly rebuilding this baby up. I'll keep you guys updated here over the winter, of course, how things go. So we will have something to do this winter besides watch me just terribly fail at off-road stadium truck and 21.5 stock buggy back there. But hey, it's just awesome to be able to get out there and race here soon. That our new indoor race spot is going to be opening up. It's actually open now, but off-road is next week. So again, don't forget to just check out and, you know, do some comparison shopping yourselves, guys. Check things out. Like, there's just a lot of different ways to look at this whole situation now. You know, you've got regular sport rear arms, which is what I'll be running. You got the tuned rear arms if you want to save a couple grams. There's just so many different ways that you can go ahead and build and modify your DC1. Some of these parts, like I said, the bumper are available in carbon, or you can go with the actual plastic, whatever your pleasure. Whatever weight and stuff you're trying to get to. You know, if you're a serious racer, you want to try to stick as, you know, close to that 2,200 gram mark, 2,250 as you can. For me, I am just not going to sweat that anymore. I'm going to be more around that 2,400 to 2,500 gram mark, just because I believe that creates just a more stable environment, at least on the places that I race at. And then hopefully with just a couple changes, if I go to like a big track, all I have to do is make things like possibly a battery change or maybe some shock changes or something to get that weight down just a little bit more, so that way we can put a little bit more power to it. You know, things like air in the tires and stuff like that too will save us a little bit. Just all the grams kind of add up when you get into a full-fledged racing situation and not just hanging and busting out laps on a timing system with your buddies, even though that's the best way to do it. So good to see you guys. Hope you all are doing well. We will see you on the next video. Peace.